Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to TCR South America, TCR Brazil, Banco BRB, and the Super Challenge Interlagos weekend at this incredible venue that you see on your screens in front of you. Of course, the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache is the venue, 4.3 kilometres in length, 15 corners, very high speed, very technical, and an absolutely incredible place for us to go motor racing over the course of the next hour or so for this very special race indeed. If you're familiar with the world of TCR South America Banco BRB, a very warm welcome to you all. If this is your first time watching one of these broadcasts, a warm welcome. My name is Paul Jeffrey. It is an absolute pleasure to welcome you here today to TCR South America and TCR Brazil Banco BRB, but with a bit of a difference. This is going to be a 58-minute plus one lap driver swap endurance race. Okay, 1 hour in endurance. Happy bedfellows those two don't make. But this is going to be a very different, very strategic, very technical race. And if qualifying is anything to go by, we have got 21 cars and teams, 42 drivers that are absolutely up for the challenge. A mix of TCR South America and TCR Brazil Banco BRB regulars with some international superstars, champions from the world of stock car Brazil, Uruguayan Super Turismo, TCR South America, TCR Brazil, Turismo Carretera and TCR Europe as well. So big name drivers from global motorsports, both in South America and further afield, sharing the car with the regular drivers from this category. It's going to be absolutely fascinating. We'll have a look at the entry list in a moment, but there's the car that will be starting from pole position. Felipe Fraga will be starting the number 77 W2 Pro GP machine, fresh off the bike of just finishing 5th in the Stock Car Pro Series, quite literally less than 35 minutes ago. We've got a few drivers actually. Nelson Piquet Jr. finished 2nd in Stock Car Pro Series. He'll be starting at the back, courtesy of an engine change. And Gaetano De Moro as well finished 11th in Stock Car Brazil. He's going to be starting on the 2nd row of the grid today for our TCR race. So double duty for some of our drivers. A is a good thing, they've got some track experience. B is a bad thing, the car is nothing like the TCR and they'll be absolutely worn out, I am sure, after a great race. But I love that one, I love the passion down in this part of the world for motor racing, from the fans to the drivers and everything in between. Okay, so this is your entry list then. The two names signify the drivers who were sharing the cars. The first name on the top of the list is our reigning champion for TCR South America, Leonel Pena. He's going to be sharing the Honda racing machine, and Pena, starting from 2nd on the grid, has a good opportunity to move forward, it has to be said. A few names that you'll not recognise on there if you're regulars of this series: Jenson Brickley, Alex Lee from Europe, they'll be coming into the championship for this round. Felipe Fraga, that we've just spoken about, starting from pole position. Nelson Piquet Jr. has Marcos Regadas alongside him for this weekend. Unfortunately for that team, they had difficulties in qualifying. An engine change was required. So alongside the Enrique Maglione and Facundo Ferrer machine, they'll be starting on the back row of the grid. Normally that would be a disaster. This is a 58-minute plus one lap race. There is plenty of opportunity to work your way through the field. Tyre wear is going to be an issue over the course of this 58 minutes plus one lap race. The Hankook tyres here will take a fair beating, I think. 30 degrees plus is the air temperature here at Interlagos. Very, very hot conditions. We're going to be racing for a very long time, and the lap times in qualifying at least suggest it's going to be a pretty closely fought race, I have to say. Still have a few of the names on the entry list. Once again, having a quick look at some of these names. Esteban Gurrieri, another name our European fans will recognise from the Kumo FIA TCR World Tour. The Argentinian driver looking to make an impression on his return to TCR South America, having raced, of course, last time here, just last season in the World Tour when we came to this very circuit. It has to be said, beautiful venue, Interlagos. It really, really is. It is one of the best racetracks in South America, and for my money, possibly one of the best racetracks in the whole world, to be perfectly honest. Deeply underrated is Interlagos. It's quick, it's technical. We'll come back to that one though, because this is the TCR South America Championship standings post-qualification. Reigning champion Leonel Pena takes over top spot by a single point from Bebu Girolami. Camilo Trapper, the very, very exciting young talent, new in for 2026. He holds on to 3rd position. They had difficulty sharing the car with Alex Lee. They'll be starting in 13th position for this race. Contact between Alex and another car unsighted in qualification meant damage was carried through for both sessions. Hence the reason they're a little bit lower down. Okay, they're a lot lower down than perhaps they would have been hoping for coming in to this particular race. Rest of the championship standings you can see on your screen there. Several of these drivers are names that have scored points courtesy of yesterday, quite frankly. So this is going to be classified in TCR South America, TCR Brazil, Banco BRB as a long race. So the points will be slightly different compared to the usual TCR point scoring system. It'll be 50 for a victory, 44
Olá,
for
muito
second,
boa tarde aqui
30
diretamente da pista do principal templo do automobilismo brasileiro, o Autódromo de Interlagos, que vai receber agora, daqui a alguns minutos, a terceira etapa do TCR Brasil e TCR South America Banco BRB. Agora, uma corrida muito diferente. Para começar, vai ser a primeira e única corrida deste fim de semana. Por quê? É uma corrida endurance. Qual que é o formato dela? São 58 minutos, mais uma volta, com uma troca obrigatória de pilotos. Serão 21 duplas compostas por pilotos do grid atual e também convidados. Convidados de renome internacional, como Esteban Guerrieri. Temos também 2 pilotos da Stock Car, além de Nelsinho Piquet. Um deles, inclusive, está numa dupla que vai largar na pole position, que é o Felipe Fraga. Felipe Fraga e Rafael Reis vão largar da ponta. Esse foi o resultado do quali de ontem. E essa troca de pilotos, ela tem que acontecer necessariamente numa janela específica, entre as voltas 17 e 22. E ela não pode durar menos que 1 minuto e 45. Senão, se isso acontecer, a dupla vai receber aí uma penalização de 90 segundos. A gente está aqui no grid, que já vai começar a ser formado logo mais, uma grande quantidade de pessoas chegando aqui para essa grande festa. E eu volto com vocês e mais tarde com mais entrevistas aqui diretamente do grid.
Thank you very much, Letitia, down there on the grid. This is a replay from qualification yesterday. The car that's having a whole world of pain is Great Britain's Alex Lee, sharing the car with Camillo Trapper, of course, this weekend. That's the contact that I spoke about, unsighted. The damage on the car, sadly for the team, would carry through to both qualification sessions yesterday. That's the reason they're down there in 13th position. What it means for us watching on the TV is that's going to be a fantastic recovery drive. Alex on in perilous form in TCR Europe, took a victory on debut in the category at the start of the season at Mugello. And then Camillo Trapper, again, needs no introduction to TCR South America. The young man, mightily impressive indeed. And already up there as a potential championship challenger. We had plenty of action then during the course of qualification. The track was busy with just 21 cars on the racing surface. Trying to find a little bit of real estate to set a lap time would prove to be rather difficult. Jensen Brickley and Enzo Gianfretti driving the number 19. We saw a little bit of a snatch break. Won't be the first time, won't be the last time we see that over the course of the Interlagos weekend. However, Rafael Reis and Felipe Fraga would be the men of the moment. That's Enrique Maglione, that's the Peugeot in strife, and that is one of the reasons why that car is started at the back of the grid. For an engine change, no dramas whatsoever though at the head of the pack, belying the lack of experience behind a TCR machinery. Felipe Fraga on absolutely incredible form in qualification. Himself and Rafael Reis, as mentioned, securing the pole position. Both drivers, times combined, setting the quickest time of the day. Lionel Pania shows just why he's got all the class of a reigning champion and current championship leader, with a good qualifying result up there in second. With Julian Santero is the driver that'll be sharing that car. And then the very iconic liveried number 19 machine. That is the Cooper Leon VZ in Castrol colours. Jensen Brickley and Enzo Gianfretti, as mentioned, they'll be starting from third position. Good opportunity for that team to move forward. But everybody, all eyes, all focus and all attention is very firmly placed on car number 77. They start this race from the pole position. In motor racing anyway, qualifying is not necessarily the most valuable thing when you can overtake like you're carrying a TCR car. But if you're going to start anywhere, the place that you're going to want to start from will absolutely be the very head of the pack. So when the internationals had their turn to start off the weekend, it was time for the local talent to get back behind the wheel for qualification session number 2. Now, if you miss qualifying, just to reiterate, the way that works is session 1. Our guest drivers set their times. That is Rafael Reis having a bit of an incident there as we ride on board with the number 33. And he was seen off camera, lit up the rear axle Obviously front-wheel drive, these touring cars, but there's not a lot of grip in the early stages on the rear, and around it goes. One slight blot of the copybook would not be a problem at all. And as I say, the second session for the local drivers, they set their times, and then the times were combined to lay out the grid that we'll be taking a look at in a few moments' time. Enzo Gianfretti behind the wheel now. Jenson Brickley went second quickest in his qualification session. Gianfretti a little bit slower. The net time would be third position for that car. Rafael Reis, though, of course, is a driver that, we all know how very, very talented Rafael Reis is, don't we? Fourth in 2025, fifth in 2026. Came into this weekend as the championship leader. That has changed, of course, with points being paid out for qualification. And it is still very, very much game on in the 2026 TCR South America and TCR Brazil Banco BRB championship standings. What it looks like now, I dare say it will look nothing like come the conclusion of the race. It's got a lot of points to pay out and a whole load of track action in which to do it. Looking forward to this one, folks. I hope you are too. Now's about the right time, I think, to go and grab a drink and go and grab whatever snacks you need. Because in a few moments' time, we're not far away from going motor racing. For the only time this weekend, we've done the qualification already. It's a one-race weekend for the TCR South America drivers. And look at that grid. That is a busy, busy grid. 21 cars, 42 drivers, 7 teams, 6 brands, 7 different models of car. Peugeot, Cupra, Honda, Hyundai, Lincoln Co. as well.
Eu estou aqui com o Federico Punteri, ele que é presidente do TCR South America. Federico, hablar un poquito de cómo ha crecido la categoría, que está cada día más grande, no solo en Brasil, pero en todo el continente.
Oi, Leite, boa tarde. A verdade é que sim, estamos muito felizes por o presente da categoria. Acho que falamos aqui na última corrida do ano passado e eu te falei, não, que a perspectiva era muito positiva. Sem dúvida que é a melhor temporada para a TCR, onde sumamos muito piloto, muito equipe novo, pilotos de renombre que dão salto de qualidade para a categoria. E acho que eventos como esse, eventos com convidados de muito nível, pilotos que vieram da Europa, da Argentina, acho que para nós este era um ano super importante e estamos cumprindo essas expectativas.
E como que é para a categoria, agora eu já vou falar português, que eu vi que o seu português está muito bom, para a categoria vir pela 7ª vez para o Autódromo Internacional de Interlagos, que é um dos maiores palcos do automobilismo mundial até.
Nossa, é muito importante. Para nós, do primeiro dia que começamos a categoria, o sí para nós é o Buenos Aires a Interlagos. É um autódromo imponente, um autódromo de Fórmula 1. A categoria precisa ir a esses autódromos de nível internacional. Así que é muito importante para nós, para os pilotos, os equipes, os patrocinadores. Todo mundo fica contento, todo mundo gosta, assim que vamos a continuar vindo por muitos anos a mais.
Tá certo, muito obrigado e eu volto com vocês.
TCR South America President Federico Punteri there speaking to Leticia on the grid. I am no doubt very, very proud indeed about what TCR South America has become. It's a great category. I was first introduced to this one back in 2023 when I came over for the Kumo FIA TCR World Tour, and the people, the teams, the drivers, the presentation, everything about the series is just deeply, deeply impressive, and it's wonderful to see the Super Challenge Interlagos format brought together for 2026. I absolutely love these longer distance guest driver events. It really does shine a light on the TCR category as we're taking a look at some of the highlights from Curvelo Round 2 that happened just a couple of weeks ago in TCR South America. It's a really technical street circuit, part open, part behind the concrete barriers. In sim racing at least, this is a track that I've never been able to get on with. I just can't master this circuit in a TCR car. It's a very difficult track to drive in a front-wheel drive touring car, and there we can see lots of drama. So it may be difficult to overtake when Angel Rosso decides. Maybe I don't agree with that one. Rafael Reis as well, but he commented in the 77. This is the kind of racing action that we are so used to in the world of TCR touring cars. If you haven't watched TCR South America before, I do implore you to do so. They have commentary in many different languages over on the TCR South America YouTube channel. Catch yourself back up again. It is some absolutely incredible racing, some real talented drivers out on the racetrack, and they do occasionally get a bit of damage as well. It's touring car racing. If you come back with every panel facing the right direction, you really aren't pushing hard enough. And if you come back with wing mirrors, you'll be out of a job next week. Nelson Piquet Jr. there we can see. Shame for Nelsinho coming into this weekend. The engine change will bring that car to the back of the grid, but I expect to see him charging through as Lionel Pania takes the checkered flag to win last time out in number one. He's the championship leader and the reigning champion as well. Race number two, though, at Cervelo would be a little bit more dramatic than the opening encounter. Everybody was relatively well behaved in the first race of the day. It's the touring cars, though. Give our guys a second race and change the grid order a little bit, and chaos usually ensues. And again, and I'm waxing lyrical a little bit about TCR South America here, but the variety of tracks they have in this part of the world is just absolutely incredible. There's a real mix of street circuits, fast international facilities like Interlagos, and then very technical and slow tracks as well. A real mix, a real test of driving skill for the TCR South America drivers. And I think if you do well here, if you win here, then you are a very strong driver indeed. Look at Nebel Girolamo leading the pack at this moment in time. Juan Rosso in the Palladini Racing Lincoln Co. Looks lovely, doesn't it? The Palladini livery on the Lincoln Co. Juan Rosso, very talented driver. He's going to have a bit of work to do in qualifying. I'm trying to remember where they are. 10th on the grid for Juan Rosso, so a bit of work still to do. Hopefully for Camilo Trapper, there'll be more victories on the way. Cascavel was the next round. The TCR South America, TCR Brazil, Banco BRB came to. Now, this is a track I enjoy. This is, again, going back to the variety of circuits in South America. Very quick, very open. The barriers are a long way around, though. If you make a mistake here, you're heading straight to the scene of the accident. Very high speed to this final corners and into the first section. A little bit of a rat-a-tat-tat. No harm, no foul on that occasion. But that's the kind of elbows out driving that in a 58-minute race plus one lap, you have to be very cautious of. Indeed, Pedro Cardozo, we saw very briefly there, making a move on the 72 machine. A good little pass there. As we see Lionel Pania. Once again, this is going back to the point I was making at the start of these highlights. It is all about the big results. Several punctures there on the slick tyres as Pania does a great job to hold that car together. It might be 50 years of age, but the reactions have dimmed not one iota, methinks. And that's the 77 Rafael Race. No such dramas for that car on this occasion as Thiago Pania, now in TCR Europe, has a little bit of drama on the front right and heads straight into retirement. Rafael Race almost getting wrapped up with the Honda machine. But no dramas for car number one, reigning champion and race victor, Lionel Pania. 2 victories in 2026 is good enough for the 101 points that gives him a slender singular point advantage over Bebu Girolamo coming into this race. Cascavel, race number 2, would be a slightly calmer affair. A little bit spread out over the course of the opening few corners. Just look at this first section of corners. Maximum attack in a front-wheel drive car. You can go wrong very quickly indeed. I love the old-school nature of the racetracks here in South America, and Cascavel is absolutely one of those circuits. It's just very much a driver's venue. Great for touring cars. Where isn't great for touring cars, to be perfectly honest? TCR is. And I'll admit this now, I'm the biggest TCR fan in the world. TCR cars are incredible everywhere, aren't they, really? Even Monaco, I'm sure we could find a way to make an overtake in this category. Such is the competitive nature of car and drivers. However, at the head of the pack, Lionel Pania would be in strife. A third victory, not quite within the grasp of the Argentinian driver for now. Fresh set of boots on the car and away he goes. Rafael Race had his own problems as well. The number 77, big opportunity to bank a healthy haul of points. Unfortunately, would have gone missing at Cascavel, and that changes the dynamic of the championship standings significantly coming into this Super Challenge Interlagos weekend. Pedro Cardozo, though, took his victory. That bumped him up into 7th in the driver standings after qualification this weekend. Cardozo, race victory, high on confidence coming into Interlagos. And we all know as a racing driver, confidence is 99% of the task. Keep your eye on Pedro Cardozo. That car is going to be moving forward over the course of the race. I am absolutely certain.
Com Letícia Datena e Julian Santeiro, que é uma honra tê-lo aqui no TCR. Ele que é campeão da Turismo Carretera, campeão da Turismo Nacional, que são as categorias que ele corre hoje em dia. Julian, estás com uma boa posição de largada aqui, haciendo dupla con Leonel Pernilla. ¿Cómo es para ti estar de vuelta aquí en Interlagos?
Bueno, ¿qué tal? Buen día para todos. La verdad que contento. Muy agradecido con Leonel Pernilla, con Honda Brasil por la invitación, por confiar en mí. Una linda experiencia, no conocía Interlagos, primera vez para mí aquí, así que primera vez también en TCR Sudamérica. Linda experiencia, buen nivel de pilotos, todos top. Hay muchos campeones de distintas categorías de Sudamérica, así que está muy bueno. Lindo desafío, estamos largando en una buena posición, así que con buenas expectativas para la final.
¿Y qué te pareció el circuito, un circuito tan icónico?
No, increíble, increíble estar corriendo acá. Tenía muchas ganas de conocer y más de correr, entonces es increíble la historia que hay en este circuito, las definiciones, las carreras, los videos de Ayrton Senna que hemos visto, definiciones de campeonato de Fórmula 1, así que muy feliz de estar acá en Brasil, con muchos amigos, vos sabés, en Stock Car también, así que me la pasé paseando todo el final de semana para estar con todos ellos.
Muitíssimas graças, suerte na carreira. Vou aproveitar e vou falar com o brasileiro Pedro Cardozo, já que a gente está falando com campeões. O Pedro Cardozo é campeão, foi campeão já do TCR Brasil. Correu de Stock Car também, a gente tem alguns pilotos de Stock Car aqui no grid hoje. Pedro, como que é para você fazer essa corrida de endurance? O que a gente pode esperar? 58 minutos, mais uma volta com carro de tração dianteira?
Bom, é uma corrida bem diferente do que a gente está acostumado durante o campeonato, né? A gente só tem 2 corridas sprint durante todo o campeonato, essa é a única exceção. E eu acho que isso vai fazer com que a corrida seja bem movimentada. Como o Santeiro comentou, vocês já estão acompanhando aí, tem vários pilotos de outras categorias aqui, com nível internacional, nível profissional mesmo. Mas é diferente para eles, então com certeza eu acredito que a corrida vai ser bem movimentada, vão ter acidentes, vão ter furos de pneu, porque os pneus estão sofrendo bastante. E do nosso lado é cuidar do carro até o pit, receber o carro numa boa posição e tentar, obviamente, o maior número de pontos para o campeonato, porque é muito longo e tem muita coisa para acontecer.
Tá certo, muito obrigada e boa sorte na corrida. Eu volto logo mais com mais um campeão que está vindo aqui.
Thank you very much, Leticia. Having a word with Julian Santeiro, that will be starting alongside Lionel Pernilla in the Honda racing machine, and Pedro Cardozo as well, who, as mentioned, was a race winner last time around, and hopefully for him will be carrying that confidence into this weekend, and that'll give him just the advantage he needs to try and score a big result. Pole position for this car, a little bit of pressure for that gentleman as well.
Sim, eu estou aqui com o Facundo Ferra, piloto uruguaio. Me comentabas que eres campeón de qué competición?
Soy campeón del Superturismo uruguayo y bueno, un gusto estar acá en Interlagos compartiendo con el TCR.
Temos mais um campeão então aqui com a gente. E que tal? ¿Habías estado en Interlagos antes o no? ¿Es la primera vez?
No, primera vez en Interlagos, primera vez manejando un TCR. Este año estoy como ingeniero de un equipo acá del Uruguay Racing Team, así que ya he conocido un poco los autos, pero primera vez manejándolo y la verdad que muy lindo y el circuito impresionante.
¿Y cuál cree que va a ser el principal desafío?
Y bueno, va a ser una carrera muy larga, muy desgastante. Hay que ver que los autos no sufran con los neumáticos. Y bueno, con los frenos, que es otro punto clave. Así que bueno, va a ser una carrera muy interesante.
Muchísimas gracias y suerte.
Gracias, saludos para todo Uruguay.
Eu volto com vocês.
Thank you very much, Leticia. So, we're getting ready then, aren't we? It's not long to go before the green flag waves. Everything gets a little bit leery. And we finally go motor racing here at Interlagos. The grid's starting to empty now, as the 5-minute board is aloft at the head of your shot. 5 more minutes then, folks. Green flag will wave and we're going to go motor racing. Let me use this opportunity to remind you, you can find out about all of the news and all the stories for TCR South America, TCR Brazil, Banco BRB on social media. Check out TCR Series and TCR South America social media channels for all the inside track as we have a look. And I must say, a slightly nervous looking Camilo Trapper there, isn't he? Be a nice experience handing your car over to somebody else to start a motor race. Jenson Brickley will be the driver that will be launching the number 19 machine from third on the grid. Very safe pair of hands is our Jenson, of course, but nevertheless, always a scary experience. That is on board the Lionel Pania machine, the Honda. Lionel will be starting this one as well, and this is going to be fascinating, isn't it, to understand the starting priority of these drivers. Will we have a safety car intervention wasting some of the time behind the wheel for some of these big names? Will there be dramas over the opening few laps, or will, and I've never seen this in my entire life, will touring car drivers, for the first time ever, decide discretion is the better part of valour, and this is a long race? Yes, I laughed as well. No, of course they won't, the touring car drivers. That is Gaetano De Moro. He finished 11th about an hour or so ago now in the Stock Car Pro Series. Jumps back behind the wheel of another race car to have another stab at it. This time front-wheel drive, this time a TCR touring car. A very different machine it does make. But a race car driver is a race car driver. If you can pedal one, you can pedal them all. Right then, let us take a look at our Super Challenge Interlagos starting grid. On pole position is Felipe Fraga, sharing the car with Rafael Reis. Alongside is Lionel Pania with Julian Santero joining him in the Honda. Jenson Brickley will start with Enzo Gianfretti to take over later as Gaetan De Moro and Nestor Girolamo share the Hyundai MSA machine. Starting in 5th position, Santiago Arrutia and Nicolas Fuca. In 6th place is Esteban Guerrieri and Tiago Pernia for Honda Racing. Pedro Cardozo, Solzaneto and Pedro Cardozo in 7th. 8th place, Eric Schott and Bruno Massa. 9th goes to Galid Osman, sharing the car with Juan Manuel Casella, and Juan Angel Rosso will line up 10th. 11th goes to Gaston Anasa, and 12th place goes to Fabrizio Persini. 13th position, a little bit ahead of these guys, so I'll slow it on down. It's always difficult, look at 2 sheets of paper. 13th goes to Camillo Trapper. Alex Lee will share the car with him, and Fabian Yanantuone will drive with Beto Montenegro at Palladini Racing. Mariano Pania for Cobra Racing Team with Alex Said, and Joaquim Cafaro and Mauricio Lambrice for Uruguay Racing Team. Gabriel Romano, Alberto Catucci in the Honda MSA car, Fabio Casagrande and Adrian Chiriano for Honda Racing. Diego Chiante and Rodrigo Lugon for Hyundai MSA will line up in 19th position. 20th goes the way of Nelson Piquet Jr. and Miguel Regados. And last on the grid, Enrique Malione and Facundo Ferra for the Uruguay Racing Team Peugeot squad. They're starting at the back of the grid, as is Piquet Jr. on account of an engine change, which penalises them all the way to the back shot. And that is riding on board with Miguel Regadas. That is the car number 33, the Honda, that he will share with Piquet Jr. 30th on the grid. There's a sorry, not 30th, 20th on the grid. That's a lot of machinery between himself and Rafael Reis and Felipe Fraga at the head of the pack. Right then, now it is the moment we've all been waiting for. Time for the talking to stop, time for the drama to start. Touring car racing is quite simply the very best thing on the earth, and we're about to do it at Interlagos. Cannot wait for this one, folks. Bit of housekeeping then while the formation lap begins. It is a 58-minute plus 1 lap race. There is a mandatory pit stop. The pit window will open between laps 17 and 22. You cannot pit under the safety car. If the safety car comes out during that window, the window will be extended the appropriate number of laps to make sure we can get that in. And also for the pit stops, there's a 90-second pit entry to pit exit rule. So you cannot go faster than 1 minute and 30 seconds in pit lane. If you're even a tenth of a second below that time when you exit the timing tower, you'll be given a 90-second penalty. So 1 minute 45 seconds minimum pit time, excuse me, not 1.5 minutes, 1 minute 45 seconds minimum pit time from entry to exit. It's good, it keeps it fair for all drivers, make sure that we do the drive change in a safe, sensible and responsible way. And it sounds easy, doesn't it? Make sure that you hit the time limit. Seen it many, many times before. That's where mistakes can creep in. That's where races can be won or lost in an event like this one. We'll keep our BDI on that one. I have no idea how going to ascertain who's in the car when. We'll worry about that one when we get to it. But at this moment in time, Felipe Fraga is the driver behind the wheel of car number 77, the W2 Pro GP machine. Cooper Leon VZ, very competitive, very competent car in TCR competition. And it should be a very nice vehicle indeed, in which the number 77 crew can launch their campaign here in Interlagos from. "21 cars then, slowly but surely, winding their way around this 3.9 kilometre circuit. Absolutely adore Interlagos, opened in 1940. Current layout comes from 1999 in Sao Paulo, Brazil. 43 metres or 141 feet of elevation. It is uphill, down dale, as they say in my part of the world. Very, very spectacular place to watch and to participate in touring car racing. Don't be concerned, by the way, it's a second formation lap for these drivers. It's not a very leery and poor rolling start, it's okay. We're still behind the Cupra safety car. Look at those drone shots, absolutely impeccable. Some great drone shots over the course of this weekend. And here we go then, riding on board with the 33. The Gardas behind the wheel of that machine at this moment in time. Nelson Piquet Jr. will get his opportunities, probably having a bit of a break, to be fair, having just got the car for P2 in Stock Car Brazil. It's going to be a very, very entertaining race indeed. I shall look forward to this one. And we're forming through then. There is the safety car at the head of the pack. Just now looks small compared to TCR cars. Interesting shot. We'll get racing very, very shortly indeed. Hopefully live timing plays ball this time as well. That'll make life a little bit easier. It's going to be fascinating to me to see the driving mentality of the field coming into this one. Will they be attacking like we're so used to seeing in the shorter sprint TCR races all around the globe? Or will there be a little bit of mind paid to the fact that this is an endurance event? And it does require a little bit more moderation, shall we say, because there's a lot of racing to go. So 2x2 formation we go then, as we wind our way up the hill through the Descida del Lago. No, it's not through Young Cow even. Come on, Paul, wrong part of the racetrack. 2x2 formation, the safety car will peel off to the left-hand side of the racetrack, and then it'll be go, go, go for TCR South America, TCR Brazil, Banco BRB, and the wonderful Super Challenge Interlagos event. Felipe Fraga then, in the 77, on the right-hand side of your screen. On the left-hand side is Lionel Pernilla in car number 1. It's going to be a drag race down to T1. So here we go then. Keep your eye on the lights at the top of your screen. The TCR South America, TCR Brazil, Banco BRB Super Challenge Interlagos is underway, and Felipe Fraga gets a wonderful start at the head of the pack to lead the storming charge down into the centre S. There's contact between Jensen Brickley and the Hyundai as well. A little bit further back, Brickley having to use all of the racetrack and a little bit more, but Tomorrow holds on to that one. Down in 4th position, the Peugeot going 3 wide with the 33 as well. Regardas, good start for the Honda driver. Out on the on the grass we go for the run down into T3. Going to be a little bit careful there, as once again Jensen Brickley, slight contact with the 29. No harm, no foul on this occasion. Going to be very careful tomorrow. He's in a TCR car, a little bit foreign compared to what he is used to, but he's holding on. Oh, contact between himself and the 3. That is Santiago Urrutia. Contact with the rear of the Hyundai. Both cars survive on that occasion. Urrutia trying to have a look, trying to find an opportunity further in the pack. Look at the amount of battling we've got on the racetrack at this moment in time. Every corner that you look, there seems to be a fight for position. On the inside, that's the 16, Juan Angel Rosso. Can he get the job done? Yes, he can. A little bit of a squabble further back as well. Everybody trying to find a bit of real estate. The question that I was asking about, are we going to take it a bit more cautious, being an endurance race? Answer is no on that one. So it appears 3 wide into the left-hander, a little bit further back in your shot. Everybody looks like they've just about made it through that particular battle pack. As we wind up the hill now, side by side, Pizzini on the outside in, the number 9, the 43 that is going alongside. Who's behind the wheel of that one? That's Kelso Nieto. And 3 wide, in fact, for a run down into centre. 3 cars into a space for 2 is never a good idea. Over 4 wide as we fan down into the second gear, left-handed, took the car to the inside. A little bit of a mistake. Further up the track, that opens opportunity. Contact between the 2. Wow, this is dramatic. That is Pizzini in the 9, just about holding on for now. But he's going to be under a lot of pressure indeed. And there, exactly on cue, we see the middle of the racetrack is the best place to try and hold on as best you can to the racetrack. I've got a sneaking suspicion this is going to be a battle that will end in tears. All 4 wheels off of the racing surface for the Peugeot. No problems though, thank you very much. It's only a small car. Gavin Osman says, I'll take that place away, thank you. And so he does, but Osman is a little bit vulnerable and loses almost as quickly as he gained the position. Pizzini finds his way back once again. Great little battle pack that we're watching here. We're riding on board with the 33 of Regardas. Where are they on the timing tower? Certainly made plenty of places up Regardas. Up there in 17th position, just ahead of us, is Fabian Ianantuonen-Chianti as well. Side by side. This is a great view on board the 33, the little Honda, trying desperately to find a space in which to slide that car in. Can't quite do it on this occasion. Joaquim Cafaro in the Peugeot having another good run as well. On the long drag to the inside, Chianti in the 115. Look at Regardas though, look at the slipstream now. Tries to have a look to the inside door, firmly closed in the face of the Honda driver. Looks to the outside, nothing doing there as well. You're going to be almost spoilt for choice in terms of options if you are Regardas. No opportunity on this occasion. 51 minutes, 21 seconds left on the clock. Lots and lots of racing still to go. You wouldn't be able to tell though, would you, by the way that these guys are driving in this one. Very, very combative indeed, it has to be said. Camillo Trapper, by the way, up there in 12th position. We saw him briefly on our screen, started 13th. 1 place gain then for Trapper. That's been a relatively solid start. Keep your eye on car 27. I expect to watch that one moving up the running order very, very quickly indeed. There is Santiago Arrutia in the 3rd position, number 3 car around the outside of Esteban Gurrieri. I've said that one during my career a few times. And here we go again. Down the inside goes Schotten. A little bit late, a little bit deep. I don't think he is going to have that one completed. No, he doesn't. Juan Rosso retakes the position in the Palladini Racing Lincoln Co. There is Eric Schotten. You saw very briefly on your screen the number 7 the number 7 Cupra. Briefly took the place away from the Lincoln Co. Rosso quickly back on the scene and retakes that position. They're fighting, by the way, for 11th place and 10th positions respectively. Have a quick look down the timing tower. Everybody looks like they are still pretty much running as is. So no early retirees from the first few stages of this motor race. 58 minutes going. That is a very good thing indeed, it has to be said. So well done from everybody so far. All 21 cars that started are currently running. And a little bit of drama here. The Schotten covering the inside line. Ansa can't find a way past at this moment in time. The 86 in 9th position. Gaston Ansa, 29-year-old Argentinian driver. Doing a very sterling job indeed. Let's take a look then at some of the early stages. 21 cars into the Cenaresas at the start of a touring car race is usually a close your eyes and hope for the best moment, but very, very well behaved indeed. A little bit further back you can see a good start for several of our runners. 3 wide down into the Cenares. He's going to quickly close up, light contact between the two, and that's what happened to the Honda. Had to take to the escape road, and to be honest, I don't think the stewards will enjoy that one Looked like a bit of advantage was found somewhat there. I'm sure we'll find out about that one in a few moments' time. Here's another view. Fabulous scenes, isn't it? At Interlagos, are really beautiful. No matter where you stand at this track, the view is just nothing short of spectacular. Let me see. That's the contact there. This sends the Honda off of the racetrack. Fortunately, there's no grass or gravel there nowadays, so you can very quickly re-enter the racing surface without too much drama. Right then, 8/10 of a second, Felipe Fraga from Lionel Pania at this moment in time. Solid start for Pania, just managing the car, I think, in the early stages. Word on the street has it, well, the plan of attack for this one, excuse me, is going to be a case of management for a lot of these drivers. What are we taking a look at here? That is the Enrique Malioni machine. Camillo Trapper car as well there. Ooh! Sorry, not Trapper. That is big contact though. 56. Gabriel Romano behind the wheel of that one, and that is not a gratifying sight to see. Good driving though from the Hyundai machine to get the car back on the racetrack and not into the barriers. So fortunately, we can avoid the need to go under a safety car intervention, which is, I'm sure you'll all agree, greatly received indeed. Right then, riding on board with Regadas. Currently in 13th position, just ahead of us is the 115 Arciante. Honda versus Hyundai. Smaller car versus the longer shape. Honda's proven to be a very competitive car, the FL5 machine. Although I do think on this occasion it looks like the Hyundai has the legs for now at least. But some good recovery drive, isn't it, from the back of the grid, 21st position. Regadas up there in 13th place, the biggest mover in the field thus far, it seems, for Regadas. He's doing a good job of handing the car over to Nelsinho Piquet Jr. somewhere between the lap 17 and 22 board. Timing once again deciding it doesn't want to show me anything that's useful to me, so bear with me a little bit while I constantly refresh things, possibly even strike them with something heavy as we get into this race. 46 minutes are on the clock still and 25 seconds. Don't forget there'll be an additional lap at the end of this one. It's 58 minutes plus one lap is this Super Challenge weekend here at Interlagos. A little bit different than what we're used to in TCR South America, TCR Brazil, Banco BRB. But it is a very interesting format. There's a mistake though for the Paladini Racing. Lincoln Co gets the car back on the track, does Pazzini, but he's going to be under a little bit of pressure, and so he is right on cue. Joaquim Cafaro finds the door open, walks through the door and says thank you very much indeed. Cafaro now up in a 14th position. Pazzini has Mariano Pania for company. That's the first time that we've seen the Audi over the course of this weekend. There is Mariano. Closing. Keeping a watching brief on the back of the number 9. I've got a sneaking suspicion, though, this fight does not want to come to an end yet, as Enrique Malioni's bad luck continues. There is the Peugeot carrying a bit of damage, pulling off the side of the track. And let's have a look what happened here then. It's the 15 that we're looking at the back of your shot. Don't worry about this one. This is not the car in question. It's the 15 a little bit further back that we need to keep our eyes on. Side by side, no dramas there. And what happens here? Down into the run to the centre S. Ooh! Contact between the two. It looked fairly innocuous, didn't it? But whatever it was, has put paid to the end of the Peugeot, and it seems like that Peugeot really doesn't need much excuse to come grinding to a halt. I think every time I've seen that car, it seems to have been stopped over the several times I've covered TCR South America races. And unfortunately for Enrique Malioni, started this race at the back of the grid, sharing it with Facundo Ferrer. Facundo's not going to get an opportunity, I'm afraid, to take his turn behind the wheel of the Uruguay racer machine, and that is our first retiree of the day. We started with 21. There's now only 20 cars in this field as we pick up the second of the Uruguay racing Peugeots. Pazzini still very much glued to the back of that one. Cafaro doing a good sterling job so far to hold on to that 14th position. Cycling back up the field somewhat, methinks. The lead for Felipe Fraga, 1.7 seconds over Lionel Pernilla. Last time around a 43.3 versus a 43.4. And Enrique Malione has got motion in that car. He's going in reverse. So I'm not sure what's happening there. That's the Romano machine, the 56 of Romano. We saw the damage, there you go, on the side slit of the Hyundai. Some kind of dramas as well. Contact as well as we saw to the rear of the car with Malione. Unfortunately, that car is now in pit lane. Eric Schotten behind the wheel. Not what they wanted so early into the start of this 58 minutes plus 1 lap race here at Interlagos for the Super Challenge Interlagos weekend. So far then, quickest driver on the racetrack, surprising approximately nobody, will be Felipe Fraga at the head of the pack. As mentioned, a 43.4 last time around. That was a good 10th of a second clear of Lionel Pernilla. So the gap is 1.8 seconds as things stand. But it's looking rather nice indeed for Felipe Fraga. His turn behind the wheel. There is Enrique Malione. Real shame to see him climbing out of the car once again. Our first retiree of the day. Eric Schotten still in pit lane, I think. We'll find out about that one if he's got back out on the racetrack. But for now, 2 cars are in strife. 19 cars unaffected thus far. We're riding with the number 7 of Eric Schotten. So actually he is back out on the racetrack then. So we're not quite sure what happened there. But he's back on the racetrack, so that's a good thing. Very much in a fight, isn't he? Lots of action. The number 3 that we see on our screens. It is so difficult in these conditions, in these weather conditions as well. It's very hot indeed. Santiago Urrutia, he's used to racing in warm conditions, is Santi, of course, but you don't want to be doing that for 58 minutes. It's going to be a lot of hard work for the car, a lot of hard work for the drivers as well. Lap 17, by the way, is when the pit window will open. We're on lap number 8, so there's still a lot of racing still to go for these drivers. But Santiago Urrutia doing a solid job so far. Up there in 5th position for Palladina Racing, just behind is Esteban Guerrieri. Juan Rosso in 7th place in the 16. I answer it. 8th position, Galid Osman in 9th, and Calso Neto in 10th position. That's the top 10 so far. I don't think it'll stay that way for long, though, I'm sure. In fact, if anything, Juan Rosso is starting to look a little bit more interested, isn't he? Car number 16, there you go, the Lincoln Co machine. Palladina Racing run this car, of course, in TCR South America, TCR Brazil, Banco BRB. Juan Rosso being one of those drivers that feels like he's kind of been around forever, doesn't he? Juan Angel Rosso, still relatively young at 32 years of age, finished 4th in 2023, 5th in 2024, and then took 3 wins for 6th in the standings last season. Juan Rosso, the championship standings are going in the opposite direction to what he wants, but the performance is very much there. And with a big points payout, of course, for this being a long race, he could do a world of good to his championship charge if he can take it to the flag. Santiago Urrutia carried a little bit of damage in 5th position. It does say the number 7 of Schott is down there in 19th position, so that car Eric Schotten, that car is not in this fight. The next one is Esteban Guerrieri in the 85. There we go, a bit of a TCR World Tour job there, isn't it? Santiago Urrutia and Esteban Guerrieri, Lincoln Co and Honda. I said that one before and I'll be saying that one again, but at the moment the number 7 of Eric Schotten needs to be cleared out of the way. It's a lap down that car for the strife they found themselves in a little bit earlier on. And don't worry about that one. The next car of interest is absolutely the 85 of Esteban Guerrieri. The 33 of, really, honestly, we could have done with riding on board this car pretty much the entirety of the race, couldn't we? Started at the back of the field, 20th place. Miguel Regadas behind the wheel. Moved up into 12th position. So far, great stuff there. That's the 85. Getting squirrely indeed, Esteban Guerrieri. Great stuff for Guerrieri. Finds a way past Juan Rosso. Holds on against Juan Rosso. So wonderful Wonderful racing for the Palladini racing driver and the Honda machine. Rosso, though, has an opportunity now. Guerrieri goes very defensive to the inside. Rosso in the 16 to the outside line. Guerrieri back on to the racing line, closes that door firmly in the face of the driver, chasing driver behind. Excellent stuff from these two. That's allowing Ansa an opportunity to get involved as well. Esteban Guerrieri doesn't have the pace at this moment in time, it doesn't seem, in sixth position. Looking rather vulnerable aboard the Honda. That's giving a real opportunity for Santiago Urrutia to start clawing a bit of an advantage over his Honda rival. And while Esteban Guerrieri is on the defensive, that is going to do nothing but hemorrhage lap time to the cars in front. And Juan Rosso recognises the opportunity, recognises the danger of being stuck behind the Argentinian driver. And I do think that Rosso will be very keen to find a way past as quickly as he can. An all Argentinian affair so far. There's advantage Esteban Guerrieri, but that is not a good run through that corner. Now the vulnerability shows. Look at that one. Rosso to the inside. Immediately, doesn't even need the slipstream. Esteban Guerrieri has no right to reply. He's going to hang on to the inside, dip back into the slipstream if the opportunity presents itself. Look at the top end of the Honda, though. He's recouping that ground. Rosso has absolutely no response to this one. Holds on to the inside line. Great stuff, but look at this. Look at this. Ansa decides he wants to buy into it. Can't quite get it done. Esteban Guerrieri using all of his tenacity and a little bit more, elbows well and truly out of the cockpit, holds on to that position, but just about. Absolutely incredible stuff. Ansa trying to buy in as well. Let's take another look then. Oh, we just saw Guerrieri on the outside line. Thinks about closing back down to the apex, but can't do it because there is an Audi right in the position he needs to be. A bit of a wild ride from Ansa, it has to be said. That's the when you're in the air, you aren't putting the power down onto the tarmac. That's why the compromise came, and that's what opened the door for Esteban Guerrieri to slide back through once again. But some absolutely fantastic scenes of racing action here. Santiago Urrutia, by the way, has still not managed to shake off Juan Angel Rosso. Urrutia very much in that fight as round 400 of this particular squabble. A little bit further back seems to be very much in flight. Galid Osman just inserted himself into 7th position, in fact. Ansa has gone from the attacker to the defender on this occasion and just loses another position as everybody's trying to reconfigure themselves and find out what bit of racetrack they can find themselves on in order to push forward. Beautiful, beautiful scenes. I was a bit worried coming into this one. Endurance race, everybody will take it a little bit cautious. Honestly, I've done this long enough now to know that doesn't happen in touring cars. I must be an idiot for thinking it would. It is basically a 58-minute plus 1 lap sprint race. That's exactly what this is. And there we go, to the inside and takes a position. Away goes the 29th. Demoro behind the wheel of that one. Gaetan, of course, not having a great race, actually. When did they start this one? From 4th position, sharing the car with Nestor Girolami. So the recovery drive after the early excursion, not quite going quite as well as Gaetano Demoro would perhaps have been hoping for. We'll keep our eye on that car number 29. You can see it on your timing screen. Keep our eye on that one as, oh dear, that's a sad sight to see. The 33 in pit lane. So Miguel Regadas, what lap are we on? Lap 12. The pit window isn't open yet, so this is not a scheduled stop for Regadas. What a great start to his race. Got as far as 13th, if memory serves me correctly, from the very, very back of the field. And I'm afraid to say that impressive progress looks like it's going to be coming to a halt. And there is the Miguel Regadas Nelson Piquet Jr. machine. It did say Nelson Piquet Jr. on there, but trust me, Miguel Regadas is the driver behind the wheel for this opening stint. 34 minutes. Wow, that's gone fast. Where's that gone? 34 minutes, 25 seconds on the clock. That is Demoro in the 29, finding a way past the 43. Unfortunately for Demoro, that wasn't 4th position. They're on a different lap, having been in pit lane and suffered a bit of dramas earlier in the race. Bebo Girolami, of course, came into this one as championship leader by a single point. That's changed around after qualification, but his championship charge is going to be hurt significantly by what has not been a particularly gratifying race, it has to be said, for the Argentinian driver and team. Good. 33 is back on the racetrack, so that is positive to see. Whatever dramas that befell that car seem to have been short-lived, but it has bumped them all the way down to 17th position. The last of the cars that are a lap down for Miguel Regadas. Real shame, actually. I was hoping to see Elson Wint Piquet Jr. in action at the head of the pack. And then pit window for driver changes. As you can see, the bottom screen, laps 17 to 22. And just as you can't see this on your screen, we're currently on lap 13 at this moment in time. So 13 laps already in the books, 33 minutes of racing action still to go. And that is a last of the late braking manoeuvre I think we saw there. Although the reply was not too far behind. Great stuff there from Asana. Elbows out once again. The outside line though for the Audi driver. A little bit of support as well. A little bit of contact between the two. Bauer thinks he's racing one of the Stock Car Pro cars, doesn't he? Not afraid to lean very heavily indeed on his rivals. Let's have a quick look then. A little bit of replay. Great work from our broadcast director to be so quick on the replays actually here. There we go. Lock of the wheel to the inside for Galid Osman. Does he take the place away? Yes, he does. 85 doesn't quite have an opportunity to respond. And then this is the drama. This is where we picked it up. To the outside line goes the Audi. That's a space that diminishes very quickly. And that is, to be fair, some rather nice driving indeed to keep that car on the racetrack for Gaetano De Moro. Not necessarily that familiar with a muscle memory in a TCR car, spending more of his time with a bit more horsepower and driven from the rear wheels in the Stock Car Pro Series. But nevertheless, some great driving indeed, as we have some great racing here at Interlagos for the TCR South America, Banco BRB and TCR Brazil Super Challenge Interlagos Endurance event. We're rapidly approaching then the halfway marker in this marquee event, TCR South America. It is Felipe Fraga that is the race leader from pole position. Lionel Pena, our championship leader and reigning champion, is 4.5 seconds in arrears. In second position, Jenson Brickley has had a quiet but successful race, currently holding on to that third position, 5 seconds further back. Santiago Urrutia in fourth place from Juan Rosso. Galid Osman having a very good race indeed, has moved himself up to fifth position just ahead of Esteban Corriere. And then I answer in 8th, Calzoneto in 9th, and Chianti holding on to the top 10 in the 1:15. 30 minutes then, 46 seconds left on the clock. Halfway done in this motor race. We haven't had a driver change yet. We're on lap 15, remember. Just 2 more laps to go. And then the pit window will be open for our drivers to come in, swap over for their teammate to take their turn behind the wheel. And then we get very confused indeed, trying to work out who's gone where and where the improvements are. If my endurance racing experience is anything to go by, there will be a lot of changes indeed. Nieto having a look for a move through the centre S's. Can he hold it on for the second portion of the corner? No, he cannot. Can't he holding on to this one? The 27 of Camilo Trapper as well, trying to buy into this one. 2 Hyundais alongside each other. The 43. There we go. That's exactly what I was expecting. Has a look to the inside line. Gets it done really well indeed. Calzon Nieto. Fabulous bit of driving there to put one over his young rival Camilo Trappo. He thought he was going to be moving forward. He did go backwards, did the 27, and that is some lovely driving by the Brazilian. Really enjoyed that one for Neto to hold on to that 9th position. This little battle pack is really building up, isn't it? The cork in the bottle, Esteban Corriere, is still very much in the thick of that one in the 85. He's holding up the pack behind. Felipe Fraga is holding up absolutely nobody. In fact, he's going that quickly. If he goes any faster, He'll be at round 4 in a few weeks' time, won't he? Very, very good performance from Felipe Fraga. Let's remember, it was only about half an hour before preparations for this race started. He just finished 5th in Stock Car Brazil. Really, really, really good performance. Where it's not quite working out so well, it doesn't seem, is Lionel Pena. Some kind of dramas have befallen car number 1 because he has lost a handful of time to Jenson Brickley. A lot of pressure then for the fight for second position. A lot of pressure on the racetrack here as well as we run down over the start finish line. Use the slipstream to your advantage. And then the CRS. You have the inside, but the inside becomes the outside. No problems though whatsoever on this occasion, because a little bit of mistake from Esteban Guerrieri opens the door wide as you like. No second invitations required. And the cork has been popped in the proverbial bottle. Guerrieri then down into 8th position, possibly even 9th when timing screens update themselves. Not a good couple of corners for the Argentinian driver. A whole host of good corners though for Jenson Brickley, because have a look here as we're coming towards the end of the stint for the English driver. He's got that car up in a 3rd position, but crucially, painted to the rear diffuser of Lionel Pena. Pena not looking as comfortable as we saw in the opening stages of this motor race. Last time around, let's have a look. Not sure how much I believe the timing screens, but best lap of a 1:43.086. For Jenson Brickley, a 1:43.040. Let's have a look around. Next time around the line, I don't think you need to worry about times. I think you can just look at the screen and see the gap. Jenson Brickley will be handing the car over to Enzo Gianfretti in a very short while indeed. But this has been a wonderful opening stint. First time in South America for our reigning TCR Europe champion. First time, obviously, in TCR South America as well for him. And he's acquitted himself rather well indeed, I think it is fair to say. There we go, W2 Pro GP Racing getting ready for their man, Felipe Fraga. Rafael Reis will have his turn behind the wheel. I mean, come on, what a stacked, talented team. Felipe Fraga gets out of the car and you replace him with Rafael Reis. That is just an absolutely unbelievable lineup in touring car terms. And Felipe Fraga has done a legendary job, it has to be said. 6.3 seconds is the advantage thus far before handing that car over. The magic lap 17 has been hit, so the pit window is now open until lap 22. Jenson Brickley would dearly love to sign off his South American campaign with an overtake for second position. This is not good intelligence, racing intelligence though for Jenson Brickley. While they squabble, they will be hemorrhaging time. You don't need to be fighting at this stage amongst each other, guys. You're going to be giving away lap time. Last time around, a 1:45.3, a 1:45.2 respectively for Pena and Jenson Brickley. If they continue the lap on this tour, I've got a feeling that's going to be a lot slower again the next time around. Let's have a look then. Does Felipe Fraga elect to come down pit lane? We saw Rafael Reis getting ready. There is the 77, and there we go. Dive down into pit lane. A very, very quick pit entry through the chicane. Hard on the lock stops. Get the car down to the mandated 50 kilometres pit lane speed limit. And then remember, it is a 1 minute and 45 second mandatory state time in pit lane. So that's from when you brake the timing beam to enter pit lane to when you brake the timing beam to exit pit lane. You cannot do that in less than 1 minute and 45 seconds. The reason to do that one is A, to keep things fair, B, to ensure that we can do a driver change unhurried without any kind of risk to the safety and security of people in pit lane and to the drivers as well, of course. Highly important in TCR South America. Safety is the primary concern. There is Jenson Brickley in pit lane. Enzo Gianfretti getting back behind the wheel of that car. So everybody's elected to dive down pit lane, it seems, pretty much as one to get this driver change out of the way. I never understand this in motor racing. If you start at the same time as everybody else, you'll have exactly the same result. Do it different and try and find an overcut or an undercut. It's always been a bugbear of mine in mandatory pit window races, although usually that's GT3 competition. First time I've done this in touring cars. And there is the 85 in pit lane. Solid job there, isn't it, from Esteban Guerrieri? I think he'll be glad to get out of that one. It looked like the pace was really falling away from the World Tour star. Guerrieri will jump out of that one and allow Thiago Pena to get behind the wheel. Thiago Pania, of course, very well known from TCR South America, and now for 2026 racing in TCR Europe. Lovely young man, Thiago. Had a bit of time with him in Mugello at the start of our season in TCR Europe, and his dad's not bad, is he? I think Thiago's pretty decent too, it seems. And there is his dad. There is Lionel Pania. Took over the race lead. Like to see that one. Trying to do a little bit of something different. See if he can go quickly while everybody's stationary and pick up a bit of opportunity. Here is the reigning champion, championship leader, and currently race leader of this one. Lionel Pania will be handing over the car to Julian Santero, the 2024 Turismo Carretera champion. So another champion. Ooh, a little bit of bulk there. No real problems though. For Pania, 50-year-old will jump out of that car. Great job then for Lionel. And the 32-year-old Julio Santero will get back behind the wheel. Enzo Gianfretti is back out on the racetrack, having taken over from Jenson Brickley. The one good thing about everybody coming in pit lane is at least I know that all the cars have changed. So that makes it a bit more useful, doesn't it? That's Juan Rosso out of his machine. Solid bit of driving there for Juan Rosso as well. Another nice guy, good lad, fast driver is Juan Angel Rosso. He's going to be handing over the car to Francisco Bugliotti, another Argentinian racers in the GT Cup Europe normally. So a little bit of something different. TCR competition. Gelson Nieto done a grand job in the 43. It's his turn to get out now and let Pedro Cardozo have a little turn behind the wheel. And there is Rafa Race, newly installed in the number 77. Let's see if he can pick up where teammate Felipe Fraga left off, which quite frankly, the fastest and best man on the racetrack, it has to be said. There is Rafa Race, 8th on the timing screens for now. It'll take a couple of laps for everyone to make their way out of pit lane and for things to update themselves properly, and then we'll get a true picture of who the big winners and the big losers are in this pit window period. The TCR South America and TCR Brazil Banco BRB Super Challenge Interlagos weekend. As a driver, anybody who's ever done endurance racing, in fact, no, come back to that one, because have a look at this one, as close as you like. There is second, there is third position. Santero behind the wheel. Gianfretti's had a bit of time now to get those tyres warmed up, get those Hancock slicks working in optimal temperature. This is going to be a big opportunity for Gianfretti to find a way past. Looks one way, looks the other. Massive defensive posture from Julian Santero. And there is another Peugeot in some kind of dramas. We'll come back to that one though, because the Castrol livery machine has a look to the outside. Remember that Gianfretti, he's already had a lap at speed in this car. Everything's up to temperature, including the nut behind the wheel. Everything is primed for the car ahead. All you can do is try desperately to stay on the racetrack. Don't lose too much time. Don't make mistakes. And I've got to admit, for Santero, that is a very good outlap indeed to hold off the chasing and charging Gianfretti. Fabulous stuff. Really impressive, actually. I don't want to sort of overstate the situation, but on cold tyres, fresh out of pit lane, first time in the car today, and you're immediately on the defensive. Oh, good gosh, that was close. I'd like to see that one. Crikey. Peugeot almost getting collected on pit apron, but they're okay. Everybody makes it through, and Gianfretti looks to the inside. A little bit of a puff of smoke from the front of the number one machine. Hopefully that's no problems for Santero. Doesn't look like it is. I'm sure that's just a bit of wheel rub. No problems with 20 minutes left to go. But Santero doesn't look comfortable, does he? Doesn't look comfortable at all in that number one machine. It's going to be a lot of pressure now. We're coming down the back straight to Destino de Lago. Good overtaking opportunity, not quite close enough though for Gianfretti on this occasion. He'll have to slide back behind the number one. That is the Fabio Casagrande car, and Adriano Ceriano in pit lane. Casagrande, whereabouts is that machine? Here we go, the 33 back in pit lane. Actually, so Nelson Piquet Jr. does have an opportunity to get behind the wheel. There is Nelsinho. Famous helmet, slightly different colours to his dad, Nelson Piquet Sr., three-time Formula One world champion. I'm a Nigel Mansell fan, it hurts to say. So Nelson Piquet's not my best friend, but Nelson Piquet Jr. has done a remarkable job actually to to be the son of a legend of motorsport and then to follow in their footsteps is a very difficult task indeed. But Nelson Piquet Jr., FIA Formula E champion, TCR South America champion, he's raced in NASCAR, he's raced in NASCAR trucks. I've seen him in big trucks, real trucks, over in Brazil as well, racing Stock Car Pro, as I mentioned. Finished second in the race this morning. So he's turned it into a real class act in his own right, is Nelson Piquet Jr. I remember watching him in Formula 3 as a fan back in the day at Donington Park. A friend of mine's claim to fame is that Nelson Piquet Sr. stood on his toe trying to get out of the way of the champagne at the podium celebrations. That's a friend of mine's claim to fame. If you're watching this one, Craig, remember that one? Great day, wasn't it? But yeah, Nelsinho Piquet Jr. He's not the young up and coming man now, is he? Anymore. Now 41 years of age and still looking every bit the fresh-faced teenager that we saw in the UK all of those years ago. Right, 18 minutes on the clock. To the best of my knowledge, the vast majority of drivers have made their pit stop now. I'm still seeing the 29 of Demoro and Bebu Girolami appears to be in pit lane. I'm not entirely sure if that's correct. Hopefully our director can pick that car up on the racetrack in a short while. If they are in pit lane, then they're going to drop very quickly indeed from that fifth position that we see on the timing screens. Of course, they were a lot further down the running order. In fact, there we go, beautiful. Thank you very much to our broadcast director, Gaetano Demoro. Out of the car, done a good job as the Stock Car Pro Series driver. And in gets our former championship leader heading into this weekend, now currently in second position in the championship standings, Bebu Nestor Girolami, of course. Needs no introduction on the world stage, does Nestor Girolami, up until 2026. He's a Hyundai BRC driver for the Kumo FIA TCR World Tour. Now full-time in TCR South America for this season. One of the most talented touring car drivers anywhere in the world, it has to be said, Bebu Girolami. Fascinating to watch his adventures over the course of the 2026 season. Just like it's going to be fascinating to see if this particular fight for second position finds a little bit more teeth than it currently has. Currently, it is Julio Santero holding on to that second place ahead of Enzo Gianfretti. At the head of the pack, though, take out Felipe Fraga, replace him with Rafael Reis. You have exactly the same result. A very, very fast driver at the head of the pack. The gap is closing somewhat now. It has gone down to the mightily close 7.9 seconds. So still deeply comfortable for the W2 Pro GP squad. But it is looking ever so slightly like Santero does have a little bit more pace at this stage than our current race leader. What we're having a look at here, that's the number 7 under pressure. That is Bruno Massa. Behind the wheel now, no relation to Felipe Massa, as far as I'm aware, is Bruno. There is a second bite of the cherry, methinks. No, not quite on this occasion. Look at the back of your screen. There is the number 7, Bruno Massa, under a bit of pressure indeed. Oh, Cardozo to the inside. The 43 takes not one, but 2 positions away in one move. Take a bow. Pedro Cardozo, my friend, what you had for breakfast, I'll have some of that as well, because that was bravery personified. Beautiful bit of driving. Pedro Cardozo passes Bruno Massa in one fell swoop. He also gets past another rival as well. Pedro Cardozo inserted his application for overtake of the season already at round 3 of this campaign. Beautiful stuff. You wouldn't have thought this is an endurance race, would you? As we go back to the fight for second place, Julio Santero behind the wheel. Lionel Pania started the car in second position, did a good job over the first stint to hold on to that second place. The car behind, the Cupra, was started in third by Jensen Brickley. Also a good job to bring it in on third. Well, we're swapped over. The drivers are different, but the story is still exactly the same. Car number 1 defends from car number 19, while the number 77 continues on their merry way at the head of the pack. I've said this before and I'll say it again, I really do love motor racing. This is absolutely fabulous stuff. Wonderful scenes then here in Interlagos for the Super Challenge Interlagos weekend. We're having a look at the 88 Honda racing machine. This car was started by Fabio Casagrande And now Adrian Chiliano has an opportunity to get back behind the wheel. The two-time Copper Trophy champion, Fabio Casagrande, has now handed that car over, and 15th place is looking good. Right then, commentator's curse. Let's see if I've done that one. As we take a look at the 88, I don't think this is a replay actually. I think we're back on live pictures. Interesting to see the slightly older generation Civic, isn't it? The FK8 in action there, but so far so good for that machine. Not quite so far so good for this battle for second place. Gianfretti not quite looking as lively, is he? Behind the wheel of the 19 as the driver that's just got out of that car, Jensen Brickley. If you remember, when they came in for their pit stops, they were squabbling tooth and nail. Well, the gap's kind of stabilised a little at around the sort of half a second marker, 0.3 of a second marker. Last time around, Julio Santero with a 1:43.2, 1:43.1 for Gianfretti. So very, very close on the times. And that's with the advantage of a slipstream as well for the Cooper driver. So Santero does seem like he has got a little bit more pace on tap, it has to be said, at this stage of the race at least. But remember, big endurance race, these Hankook tyres are given an absolute thrashing around Interlagos, which, quite frankly, is a bit of a tyre killer at the best of times. So there'll be a lot of drivers, I think, in a managing posture at this stage of the race, just trying to look after the car, make sure there's no real concerns in the dying stages of this motor race. Gallard Osman, we're having a quick look at here. Up there, is it Gallard Osman driving the car actually? Let's have a quick double check on that one. I'm using my memory, and that's not a good thing. Car number 60, no, Gallard Osman started the race. It is Juan Manuel Casella that is behind the wheel now, so that'll teach me to try to remember things. Gallard Osman's done a grand job actually with that car in now. Uruguayan driver Juan Manuel Casella, the 28-year-old driver, is back behind the wheel. And doing sterling work thus far, trying very hard indeed to hold off Pedro Cardozo. Last time we saw Pedro Cardozo walking past two cars in one corner like they didn't exist. I've got a feeling the Brazilian, hot off the heels of race victory last time out, is using that one to his advantage, and almost immediately, as I wax lyrical about Pedro Cardozo, he tries to find a way past the car in front. Can't quite do it on this occasion. A little bit of smoke in the air from a snatch brake. That will boost the Brazilian's confidence. He'll see that the pressure is starting to show on the number 60 machine of Juan Manuel Casella. And this is the opportunity now. The door is kind of open, kind of closed, as Nelson Piquet Jr. staying well and truly out of the way. There is the opportunity, and there is the pass. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Pedro Cardozo's amazing day on the racetrack seems to continue, as unfortunately Nelson Piquet Jr. and team's slightly suboptimal day just goes from bad to worse. That's the 33. Don't like to see that one back down in pit lane. It wasn't looking good anyway for all the delays that befell that car, and I wouldn't be surprised if potentially we parked that one up for the last 10 minutes and called time on the thoroughly frustrating encounter for Nelson Piquet Jr. I mean, I'll not be too disappointed. He's got a gargantuan trophy for P2 in the stock car pro race that preceded this one. But unfortunately, a race car driver, you know what it's like. You're only as happy and as good as your last race. And this will sting for Piquet Jr., I'm absolutely sure. What won't sting is how life is looking rather pretty for Rafael Reis and Felipe Fraga at the head of the pack, the Brazilian duo in car number 77. Beautiful Cupra Leon VZ competition there. Leads the pack, 7.1 seconds. Let's have a look as he goes over the timing beam. Last time around, it was a low 1:44. This time around, exactly the same again, a 1:44.039 for Rafael Reis. 1:43.245 for Julio Santero behind. So Santero closes the gap now from a 7.9 second to 7.2 seconds. I'm getting excited. I'm making it sound, probably, to be honest, on reflection, slightly more dramatic than it actually needs to be. It's going to take something monumental to upset the progress of car number 77. I think this is pretty much a done deal for Rafa Reis and Felipe Fraga. All they have to do is bring the car over to the line. Big question is, though, who is going to be in second position? This is Pedro Cardozo. Had all of the excitement in the world on his shoulders today, hasn't he? What are we looking at there? Nothing. In fact, look at the top of your shot. That's where the drama can be found. Action absolutely everywhere on the racetrack. Tiago Pania in that occasion. Sorry, no, Tiago Montier. No. Think of all the Tiagos, you know, Paul, and come up with the right one. Pania, there you go. Tiago Pania was the one. There was a little bit of strife. Tiago Montiero, that's about 10 years too late. That's TC1 cars, not TCR, Paul. Excellent stuff then. With 8 minutes, 50 seconds left on the clock, 47 minutes of racing action in the books, according to the timing screens. I'm not quite sure that's right, but it's been a really, really good motor race, hasn't it? The competition for P1, yeah, I mean, that one was pretty much done by the time we got through the first 2 laps, wasn't it? Such as being the dominance, absolute dominance. First, Felipe Fraga, and now Rafael Reis behind the wheel. Great stuff from this duo, and I think this is looking rather ominous for the rivals Rafael Reis in the TCR South America and TCR Brazil Banco BRB category. These two ominously quick over the course of this weekend. It's going to take some to get on top of Rafael Reis as the season progresses. Speaking of which, by the way, we're back at a new track for round 4 at the Grosso. Not a circuit I have any familiarity with whatsoever, actually. It's a brand new track. Looking at my research, only been out for a couple of years. Oh, come back to that one, because that is a massive, massive accident for the number 60. That is Juan Manuel Casella. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. For the Uruguay team entry, that is a big bit of contact. Nigel Mansell had a crash there in 1991, if memory serves me correct, in free practice. So he's in good company, is Juan Manuel Casella, hopefully. He's a lovely, lovely chap. He's the 32-year-old. Hopefully the Uruguayan driver is okay. We'll check that one in a few moments' time. I can see a little bit of movement in the cockpit. Snatch vehicle. It's waiting to be given the green light to get onto the racetrack. Of course, you can't just enter willy-nilly a live racing circuit. You have to be informed as to when the appropriate opportunity is. But hopefully, Manuel Casella is okay in that machine. As soon as I hear something, I will let you know. Hopefully somebody on the ground can give me a little word as to when we find out the condition, to what exactly has happened to the number 60 car. Galid Osman, of course, has been absolutely tremendous in the Uruguay racing team machine at the start of this race. Handed over to Juan Manuel Casella, as mentioned, during the pit window. And unfortunately, Juan Mel's the man behind the wheel. So let's have a look then. This is Juan Rosso, Pedro Cardozo. And at your back of your shot, yep, just pick it up very last minute. That is a very, very abrupt stop indeed, actually. It will have been at a relatively low speed on account of them being in the braking event for the following corner. But that was a very violent stop indeed for Juan Manuel Casella, and I haven't heard anything yet, but hopefully we get word that he's okay and out of the car in due course. Of course, that is the main concern, as always. And it's a nice opportunity, actually, to take a chance to give a shout out to the marshals here in Interlagos, and importantly, the marshals all around the world. Thank you so much for the work that you do. Volunteers are marshals all the way around the world at every racetrack, and I always say this, and I mean it from the absolute bottom of my heart. The most important people at any racetrack are the Orange Army. We couldn't do what we do if it weren't for the hard, tireless, and often thankless work that these people have to do. So a big, big thank you to the Orange Army all around the world and here in Interlagos for keeping us safe and making sure that we can go motor raced. I'm still not sure what is happening with Casella. I haven't seen him get out of the car, and I'm not hearing anything at all. So I will let you know as soon as I know myself. The snatch vehicles now are on site. The medical team is there as well. Get the door open. See if the young man is okay. Bit worrying times, of course. In fact, no, worrying times. I can change my tone of voice now. Thankfully, I've just had word. Driver is okay. Fabulous news. There we go. You have to do the Murray Walker thing when you talk very seriously when things like this happen, of course, because safety is the only thing that matters. I love motor racing probably more than anybody else in the world, but the safety of these superstars that drive these cars really is the only thing that matters. So, safety car intervention then. I'm hearing that one Manuel Casella is out of the car. Well, not out of the car, but is fit and well after what was a very, very scary deceleration. That was a big, big hit. By the way, anybody watching in comments, was that the corner that Mansell went off on in 91? Let me know. I can't quite remember. Let's see if there's any historians out there that can show me up on my motor racing knowledge. I can't remember what I had for dinner, but I can remember who finished 5th in 1992. Probably a bit sad like that. Right then, let's have a look at some highlights then, as we're under a safety car intervention. It was a very leery start in the middle of the pack. A lot of bumping and boring from the 21 cars that took the start of this long distance, 1 hour endurance race. At the head of the pack, Felipe Fraga showed a clean set of heels to the chasing field. Wouldn't be quite so straightforward for the drivers a little bit further down. Lots of tense moments, but everybody made it through the opening counters to a lesser or greater degree unscratched. Enrique Malione, Malione there. A little bit of damage on that car. That wouldn't be the first time that car was in strife, and it most certainly would not be the last. A little bit further in the pack, the 60 that we are unfortunately now enjoying this brief respite safety car intervention would have plenty of dramas. At the start of the race, perfect drive from Gallin Osman from a very long way back in 9th position. Every overtake that seemed to happen on the track had a little bit of something to do with car number 60. And there we go again, looking down the inside of the 85, Thiago Pania behind the wheel on that occasion. Gallin Osman not afraid to get the elbows out. It really has been a mightily impressive bit of driving. An overtake of the season, I think I called it during the live pictures. For one of the moves, 2 cars in one corner for the talented driver. Unfortunately, though, that number 60 is now into a DNF, joining Enrico Malione and Ferrer in the Peugeot, and Cafaro and Lambrisis in the other of the Uruguayan racing team outfits. 1 minute 54 seconds are left on the clock. I don't know, didn't see, I wasn't looking at the screen actually, if they've cleared the stranded Peugeot or not now. Hopefully we can get back under green flag conditions just to see this one out to the line. In fact, it does look like, it's not saying anything on timing, but it does look like the lights are extinguished on the safety car. So, hey, Rafael Race, you've dominated this one. You and Felipe Fraga have had a massive advantage all race through. Let's throw it in the bin, shall we? And just go mental for the last 1 minute and 23 seconds. Just throw caution to the wind. Enzo Gianfretti caught completely napping on the race safety car restart. That one's not going to look nice when he watches it back. Several car lengths, an horrendous safety car restart for the number 19. But have a look at Julio Santero in the Honda, weaving a little bit for heat in the tyres. A little bit further back, that's the 3 of Fucker to the inside. He gets the job done, moves up into 4th position. Gaetano De Moro was the one that got demoted in that very brave move down into T1. Fabulous bit of stuff there. Gianfretti still on that 3rd position. There is car number 3, Afuka in the background, the Palladini Racing. Lincoln Co. FL03, Santiago Arrutia started that car. Now he's handed the machine over and it is absolutely on fire in 4th position. A little bit further back, that looks like the number 16, Juan Rosso, had control of that one originally. Now it is down to Bugalete and he's holding on to 7th position in 27. Car number 6 at 27. Position number 6, Alex Lee takes over from Camilla Trappo and he is now very much in the ascendancy. Lee suffered the damage in qualification, started the car in 13th. Young Trappo did a great job to get in contention. And now it's down to Alex Lee for the final 2 laps. There's a move to the inside. Beautiful pass there for the 43. Pedro Cardozo gets the job done on the 16. Oh, Bugliotti. Good stuff. Up into 7th place goes Cardozo. 8th position. Drops down the number 16. A little bit of squirreling, a little bit of squabbling, a little bit of fighting. Further back, remember, just 2 laps to go. Bruno Massa in the middle of this fight as well. Rafael Race, though, It could have gone horribly wrong for the Brazilian duo, but Rafael Reis, very quick off the marks on the safety car restart, immediately builds a gap to the number one, looking comfortable for car number 77. That would have been a travesty if any dramas would have befallen that machine. Such has been the level of domination. Felipe Fraga looks a little bit relaxed, doesn't he? Doesn't look too concerned at this stage. Oh, contact in the middle of the pack in the final lap. That is the Palladini Racing number 16 machine, Buglietti in 8th place. Sideways we go. He keeps the car on the racetrack though, just about. In fact, is he pulling over with damage? Nope, just rejoining the racing surface. That car's out of the way. Alex Lee has the number 7 in front, makes the deal done. We'll come back to that one in a moment, 'cause I think Lee has passed. But let's have a look at the replay. Ooh. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. The Audi perhaps trying to occupy a space that was never really going to exist. And Said and Buglietti come together. Said avoids any kind of drama, but Buglietti drops down to 9th position. The 55 up into 8th. And the 77 of Rafael Reis looking very nice indeed to take the 50 points and the race victory. Now going to live the most prestigious race of the Banco BRB TCR South America and TCR Brazil Championship season. For the final time then, Rafael Reis, car number 77, the W2 Pro GP entry, shared with Felipe Fraga, accelerates to the checkered flag to take victory in TCR South America, TCR Brazil, Banco BRB Super Challenge Interlagos. Cheers in the pit lane. A dominant performance from car number 77, showing just the class of the field. Incredible stuff then by the grey and black machine. Race victory ahead of car number 1. Julio Santero brings it over the line, sharing that machine with Lionel Pania. Enzo Gianfretti rounds out the podium, sharing the car with Jensen Brickley. The history books will say qualification and race result for the top 3 remained the same, but all of those that were there on that day will have a story to tell of an incredible motor race that we've just enjoyed, and a Rafael Reis and Felipe Fraga victory in Super Challenge Interlagos in commanding style. Domination for those two, and a signal of intent from Rafael Reis for his aspirations of the 2026 TCR South America Banco BRB Drivers' Championship. Absolutely wonderful, wonderful stuff then here at Interlagos. A 58-minute plus 1 lap race. I don't know about you folks watching at home, but to me that feels like it lasted approximately 3.5 minutes. It has gone like lightning. Brilliant format, brilliant initiative. I absolutely adore TCR South America. I think it is a great, great series. And there we go, just bringing it up on classification then for your junior winner. Nicolas Fuca takes the checkered flag for that one, sharing the car with Santiago Urrutia for the Palladini Racing number 3 machine. Great performance by him and a great performance by the team. Santiago, we normally see him in the World Tour, but doing a very, very good job on home soil as well. So then, here we go. This is a replay of the checkered flag, and a very gratefully received checkered flag indeed from Rafael Reis. This car dominated proceedings, it has to be said, but this is motor racing. Nothing ever pans out like you expect it to do. A late safety car intervention applied all the pressure in the world on the shoulders of Rafael Reis, but he stood up to the challenge and was wise to it. Adrian Chiriano takes the category victory as well for himself, so a good performance there for Adrian to take that win. I'll have a quick look now, who's he sharing the car with? My memory fails me right at the end. Of course, Fabio Casagrande. I should have known if they've won that category. Of course it's Fabio Casagrande, he always wins. Great driver, and yet another class victory. And there is Felipe Fraga. Not been a bad day for that man, has it? Did a great race in Stock Car Pro, finished in 5th. Nice points for his championship challenge. and then comes into TCR South America, TCR Brazil, Banco BRB, dominates the Super Challenge Interlagos. They're the kind of days that you make these sacrifices for as a racing driver. This is why you don't have friendship groups, you don't go out with your friends drinking when you're at school and college and university. This is why you don't go for a burger. This is why you train and practice and dedicate yourself to your craft for these very, very moments when you bask in the glory of a job very, very well done indeed. And take the plaudits of fans, colleagues, and everybody included. Big smiles then. I'm sure Rafael Reis will be beaming like a Cheshire Cat when he gets that balaclava and helmet off. It looks like he's done a good day's work, doesn't he, Rafa? Very, very warm work. Look at that one. There we go. Even making sure it's fully presented so the sponsors are on show. Absolutely. Incredible stuff then from the W2 Pro GP squad. A very, very commanding victory indeed. And of course, Rafael Reis, that's going to help his championship charge. Came into this race 13 points in deficit to Lionel Pania. Yet to take a victory. 4th, 6th, 16th and 4th for his results for the last 4 races. Well, doesn't matter now, does it? That's in the history books. This is a win, and this is the endurance points or long race points to give them their proper title as well. So a win is worth 50, and that's a lot of points in TCR South America, TCR Brazil, Banco BRB. Can make a very big difference indeed to your championship aspirations. Right then, let's have a look at the provisional race results. Felipe Fraga, Rafael Reis take the victory for W2 Pro GP. Lino Pania and Julio Santero are second for Honda Racing, and G Racing Motorsports, Jensen Brickley and Enzo Gianfretti round out the podium positions. In 4th place, Santiago Urrutia takes the car for the opening stint. Fuca comes home and takes the junior category trophy as well. Kelso Neto and Pedro Cardozo are classified 5th. And Sana and Gaetano de Mora finish in 6th place. Camilo Trapper, Alex Lee in 7th. Esteban Guerrieri, Tiago Pania are in 8th. And then Fabrizio Pizzini, Milo are 9th. Mariano Pania and Seed in 10th. Then we have a look down into 11th position goes to Juan Rosso and Bugliati, despite the drama for Palladini Racing. Fabien Gianantuone and Beto Montiero are classified in 12th. Eric Schotten and Bruno Massa 13th. Romano and Catucci in 14th position. Fabio Casagrande finishes in 15th and wins the trophy class alongside Soriano, Khalid Osman, Juan Manuel Casella. Unfortunately, were one of many retirements in this race, joining Mr. Girolamo, Gator de Moro, Miguel Regados, Nelson Piquet Jr., Diego Shante and Lugon, Cafaro, Lambrisis, Malione and Ferrer in retirement. Sounds like a lot of names, but actually it's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars, 6 cars that failed to make it to the flag.
E eu tô aqui com eles que foram para o pódio depois dessa disputa longa, difícil. Leonel Pernia e Julián Santero. Deixa eu ficar aqui no meio de vocês. Julián, como invitado, ¿cómo es en tu primera participación en Interlagos conseguir un podio?
Muy bueno, muy contento. Agradecido con Leo, por supuesto, por la invitación, por la confianza, a todo Honda Brasil, a Seba Martino, a todos los chicos del equipo. Felicitar a Rafa Reis, a Felipe Fraga, a los otros chicos que hicieron podio. La verdad, una linda carrera.
Segundo lugar, então, para Léo Pernia, que é o atual campeão do TCR South America. Y fuiste muy feliz en elegir tu dupla, ¿no?
Sí, para algo tengo 50 años, no tengo la experiencia para elegir bien. Julián hizo un gran trabajo todo el fin de semana. Muy feliz por todo el equipo Honda Racing. Seguimos sumando para el campeonato. Corrimos con 30 kilos, no hay que olvidarse de eso, y eso nos restó posibilidades, pero muy feliz por todo el resultado del fin de semana. Y agradecido a Julián por aceptar la invitación, uno de los mejores pilotos de Argentina y Sudamérica.
¿Qué tal la experiencia de hacer una carrera endurance por TCR?
Para mí estuvo muy bueno. Le da la posibilidad también a pilotos de este nivel de conocer la categoría, que está en franco crecimiento. Son autos de carrera de verdad, van muy rápido, y a medida que van subiendo la vara, autos, equipos y pilotos nuevos de nivel, cada vez se pone mejor. Y creo que lo disfrutamos todos, desde acá, desde adentro, con mucha competencia interna, y ustedes también de afuera y desde casa por la tele.
Muitíssimas graças, felicitações. Eu volto com mais entrevistas logo mais.
Thank you very much, Letitia. We heard there from Lionel Pania, 50 years old, and he looks fitter than I do, having done a commentary. And he's raced a car, absolutely incredible, still absolutely at the top of his game, a legend in Argentina and South America, quite frankly, a legend in touring car parlance, full stop, around the globe. He raced in the TCR Europe Cup, actually, just a couple of weeks ago at Spa-Francorchamps. It's great to see him there doing again. Another great job, almost took the race victory. But the race victory today, absolutely, without question, was never going to be anybody other than car number 77, Felipe Fraga and Rafael Race. Just a class of their own. The best lap of the race went their way with a 1 minute 42.766. For reference, that's about 3/10 quicker.
Eu tô aqui com essa grande dupla com Fuca e com Rutia, que conseguiram um quarto lugar na geral, mas foram os vencedores na Júnior. Então, felicitações, como foi para ti, Fuca, lograr esta vitória aqui em Interlagos, que é um traçado tão icônico?
Hola, buenas tardes a todos. Bueno, súper contento, la verdad que una carrera muy especial para mí. Mi primera en Interlagos y mi tercera vez acá corriendo en autos. La verdad que muy contento. Fue un fin de semana de mucho trabajo junto a Santi. La verdad que súper agradecido con él, con toda la experiencia que me fue transmitiendo. Así que nada, súper agradecido. Fue una muy linda experiencia y bueno, esperemos poder seguir así el año.
Y Santiago, y para ti, ¿cómo fue la experiencia y cuáles fueron los desafíos de la carrera?
Yo ya no soy más junior, pero voy a aprovechar a subirme al podio con Nico ahora que me siento joven. Pero no, muy bien, excelente trabajo de Nico y del equipo. Arrancamos muy atrás el fin de semana y fuimos mejorando salida a salida y bueno, hizo una gran carrera, así que gracias Nico por la invitación, el cuarto puesto y la victoria en los juniors, así que a disfrutarlo.
Muchísimas gracias, felicitações. Podem ir ao pódio e eu volto com a entrevista dos vencedores.
Somebody find Santiago Arrutia and overalls that fit, please, for this one. Right then, let's have a look at the cool down room. I'm not sure how cool it's going to be there at 30 degrees centigrade. Let's have a little listen in to see if we can hear a few of the drivers' comments. Poor old Jensen Brickley doesn't understand a word of what's being said there. Just getting as much fluid as possible.
Da pole position para o lugar mais alto do pódio, Rafa Reis, Felipe Fraga, amigos há muito tempo, e eu acho que essa amizade ficou mais fortalecida depois dessa vitória, Rafa. Parabéns.
Com certeza. Queria eu da corrida começar com 7, 8 segundos de vantagem. Fraga fez um excelente trabalho, me entregou o carro já em primeiro com uma boa vantagem, então foi só cuidar. A gente sabia que tinha uma chance de safety car, então a gente quis cuidar bastante do pneu para caso acontecesse, a gente estaria pronto para relargar e abrir um pouco. E foi o que aconteceu. A gente conseguiu abrir já na primeira volta e a segunda volta eu já consegui aliviar de novo. Realmente é um carro que é impressionante. Com o sol que tá, gasta muito pneu, então quanto mais você cuida, parece que mais rápido vai. E é isso, muito feliz. Só agradecer ao Fraga, a todo o time da W2, um excelente trabalho, ao BRB que está nos apoiando, contando com a gente. E é isso, muito feliz.
Fraga, fim de semana muito difícil, né? Jornada dupla, mas você se deu bem com os carros da TCR.
Adorei, eu tô muito feliz, foi um ótimo final de semana para mim. Mantive a liderança na estoque, vim fazer essa corrida com o Rafa e com a equipe W2, como eu já falei em outras entrevistas, que é uma equipe que é praticamente uma família para mim, lá das antigas. Foi muito legal, eu confesso que eu estava com muito medo da corrida, porque todo mundo me assustando muito do pneu, e eu tava ali vindo rápido, eles, cara, cuida do pneu, eu tava cuidando do pneu, mas dá muito medo de furar o pneu, estourar, porque esses carros gastam muito mesmo, mas como o Rafinha falou, parece que quanto mais você cuida, no começo ali ele me deu uma apertada, mas depois eu acho que deve ter acabado o pneu dele, e o nosso ainda deu, assim, veio bem, no finalzinho o meu pneu ainda chegou ali no limite, e aí a gente ficou avisando o Rafa, cara, o pneu do Fraga chegou assim quase no arame. Então é isso, mas só agradecer ao Rafa pelo convite. Foi maravilhoso dividir o carro com ele, com a equipe. E ano que vem, se tiver de novo a corrida, tamo aí.
Tá aí, ó, já fica a dica.
Ainda, mas já tá forçado, eu tenho intimidade.
Ele já se convidou. Então, parabéns para vocês, os grandes vencedores do Super Challenge. Vamos ao pódio.
That was a lot of words to essentially say, yeah, we dominated, didn't we? And that's exactly what they did as our drivers, looking on at the highlights from the race. And it was a dramatic race, wasn't it? We didn't treat this one as an endurance, we just treated it as a really, really long, normal TCR race. Lots of battling, lots of fighting. And first and foremost, as a motorsport fan, thank you to the TCR South America field and the guest drivers for putting on a great race. Because, yes, it's what I do for a living, but I enjoy this one probably more than anybody in the world. I absolutely love my motor racing, and that was a really, really entertaining encounter. Not so much drama at the very front of the pack. My goodness me, did the 20 of the drivers make for that, indeed. And there is our drivers love the little cool down room, isn't it? Waiting, probably the only place with air conditioning anywhere around these parts, and very much waiting for their turn up on the podium to get the victory trophies and champagne. There's plenty of highlights to have a look at, isn't there? There was plenty of drama out there on the racetrack. There's Pedro Cardozo. He's a good guy. Going in to congratulate everybody. I wonder if Jensen gets to keep those overalls on account they've got his name on the side of them. It's not bad for the collection, is it? It's getting a little bit busy now. There is Santino Rutia in his one-size-fits-someone overalls. It's like a bike racer, doesn't he? To Santiago. I'll give him some stick for that next time I see him. Here we go then. Podium celebration times for our drivers. Of course, Copper Trophy and Junior Trophy is there. But our third place pairing, Jenson Brickley, Enzo Gianfretti, Julian Santero, and Lionel Pania on the second step of the podium. And then Felipe Fraga and Rafa Race will be coming to the very top step of the podium in a few moments' time. W2 Pro GP out on there to get the winning team's trophy. What a performance from that squad as well. They put a faultless car on the racetrack. Yes, it's got to be pedalled by the drivers, but it has to be underneath them to start with. And that is great, great stuff. Our two Brazilian winners to the top step of the podium. And now the national anthem for our winning drivers.
Diretora de marketing da Hyundai Brasil,
not yet.
Para fazer entrega, primeiramente, aos terceiros colocados, Gianfretti, Jason Brightly.
There we go. Álvaro Samsa, marketing director of Hyundai Brazil, is the person that is privileged with handing out the trophies for our third place pairing. And again, for the second place squad, Julio Santero, Lionel Pania.
Entrega para a melhor equipe e ela é W2 Pro
winning
GP.
Teams trophy, W2 Pro GP. They have done a good job, haven't they? The car always looks the business, but it's absolutely on point this weekend. And then for our race winners, Felipe Fraga and Rafael Race. Felipe started, Rafael saw the car over the line. Beautifully presented there, wonderful stuff. Trophies aloft for our race winners. Absolutely wonderful, wonderful stuff. It must be very warm indeed for these drivers stuck there in all that heat. And then let's get our junior trophy and copper trophy drivers up on here as well. 3 different categories, of course, within TCR South America, TCR Brazil, Banco BRB. Junior trophy for the slightly younger end of the spectrum, copper trophy for the more experienced gentlemen, shall we say. Federico Pontere, TCR South American president, hands out those trophies. Nicolas Fuca taking the junior trophy. Santiago Rutia sharing the car with him.
Adrian Siriano e o brasileiro Fábio Casagrande.
And here is the Copper Trophy drivers. Santiago, you're going to have to move over, sunshine. Move up, Santi. There you go. Get everybody on. Fabio Casagrande, he's been there before. He knows what to do when it comes to winning races. There we go, Santi. No offence to Fabio Crescigrande, but he's definitely not a junior driver, bless him. There we go. He's got more trophies for Copper Trophy than most of those drivers have had dinners. Fabio Crescigrande, mainstay, very much a long-term name in South American motorsports. And great to see he still loves his race and still does a great job as we go for the Brazilian national anthem.
Aí, aplauso aos brasileiros, aos argentinos.
There we go then, the Brazilian national anthem. While the podium ceremonies are on, you very briefly saw the driver's standings. We'll look at that again in a few moments, I'm sure. As we get ready for how many TCR drivers can you fit on a podium? There's a joke in there somewhere, I'm sure. But there are a lot of drivers there celebrating a very successful day. And in motor racing, folks, how, pray tell, do you celebrate successful days? You spray some sticky stuff. That's exactly what our drivers are going to do. Family photo with the trophies aloft, and then it's time to spray the champagne and celebrate in the way that only we know how in the world of motor racing. Let's go. There's enough of you. There should be plenty of celebrating going on, and there we go. Fabulous stuff. Absolutely love these scenes. Wonderful, wonderful. Felipe Fraga, Rafael. Didn't like that one, Sunshine. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Centre of the celebrations, of course, and so they should be, with a wonderful, wonderful performance. Right then, this is the provisional championship standings after that race. Lionel Pania is the championship leader, but now by 7 points from Rafael Reis, the power of good. This race has done Rafael. Camilo Trapper in third place stays very much in the conversation. Bebu Girolami, what a disaster. Came in with a 1 point lead, goes away with a 45-point deficit to Lionel Pania. Not good for the Hyundai driver. Good stuff for Pedro Cardozo. Solid result, moves him up into fifth in the standings. Enzo Gianfretti rounds out the top 6 drivers. Remember though, this is only round 3 of the TCR South America Banco BRB season. We've got another, well, got 10 rounds, haven't we? Lots and lots of races. We're back again for the next one at Mato Grosso. Then we go to Velocita, then Termas de Rio Hondo, round 7 and 8 to be confirmed. Rosario for round 9, and El Pinar in Uruguay to round out the season. Well, the first 3 rounds have been nothing short of sensational. I'm sure you will all agree. The Super Challenge Interlagos Enduro event is an absolute highlight of the calendar, and here are some of the highlights of the race. The car number 77 W2 Pro GP machine of Rafael Reis and Felipe Fraga never looked to be under pressure, even with the late safety car intervention and a final 2-lap dash to the flag. They were the team to beat, never looking under pressure for the victory. It was merely a case of who would be finishing on the bottom 2 steps of the podium. Such was the domination of that car for Rafael Reis. It worked out very nicely indeed for his championship aspirations, bumps him up the order and very much in the conversation for the title fight. It wasn't all straightforward though. Lionel Pania put up a fight in the early stages. The Argentinian driver very much on form, but not quite able to secure the victory for himself and the team.
Melhor equipe W2 Pro GP. E o vencedor TCR Brasil Super
And now it is time for
Rafael Reis, Felipe Fraga.
another podium.
Chamamos Marcelo Langrati, da divisão de vendas Honda Automóveis Brasil.
This is the podium for TCR Brazil and Trophy with guest drivers. Of course, it's another opportunity, isn't it, for more trophies for our race-winning drivers. There we go. Same as we saw last time around. Jensen Brickley, Enzo Gianfretti get that 3rd position on the podium. Lionel Pania and Julio Santero get 2nd place in the TCR Brazil's race. Marcelo Langaretti, head of sail, Honda Brazil. Out there on the podium, look at that one, lovely. Young man with the trophy there from W2 Pro GP. And then yet more trophies for Felipe Fraga and Rafael Reis. TCR Brazil this time, Banco BRB. Joint venture campaign, of course, with TCR Brazil and TCR South America. Then let's have a look at the Copper Trophy and Junior Trophy drivers as well. Fabio Casagrande was again up there for the Copper Trophy. Federico Ponteri is the man that'll be handing out those trophies. TCR South America president, of course, Federico. Family photo time. Trophies aloft, gentlemen. You've done this before now. You know the routine. And another bottle of perfectly serviceable champagne will be sprayed into the air for these drivers to celebrate. And there we go. Right on cue. Fabulous stuff. You've done this once. You enjoyed it. You're going to do it again. Fabulous stuff. TCR Brazil Banco BRB podium celebrations underway then. And we're coming towards the time of the day that I always like the least. Time when I'm getting ready to say goodbye. A big reminder though, it's not up for TCR South America, TCR Brazil Banco BRB. Next race on the 25th to the 26th of June. You can see from the pictures, you saw from the motor race, it is going to be an incredible race. I do not think you want to miss that one. Put a date in your diary. TCR South America on YouTube is the place to be to catch all of the action. Trust me, I'm sure it will be more than worth your time. Well, that's it. The race is over and done. It's been an absolute honour and a privilege to be involved in one of my favourite championships in touring car racing, TCR South America, Banco BRB and TCR Brazil. This has been the Super Challenge Interlagos. I have been Paul Jeffrey. From all of us, thank you so much for spending your weekend with us. Until next time, thanks for watching. Take care and goodbye.